It is embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. And the fact is that originally it's, oh yeah, you know, we're looking towards everything. Then they had to double down. They actually redacted this statement. They redacted a statement. They redacted the statement saying we're looking at everything, saying, no, we're actually not looking at most of the stuff. We're looking at a lie spread on social media that went viral. We are looking into a literal lie spread on social media that got spoken into fact. We're looking at a lie.
You will not believe what the WNBA just did to Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. I'm talking about a decision so backwards, so absolutely mind-blowing that even Angel Reese probably did a double take. And trust me, that woman thrives on controversy. But here's the kicker. This isn't just another petty WNBA drama story. This decision reveals something much deeper about how this league really operates behind closed doors. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why the WNBA keeps shooting itself in the foot every single time it gets close to mainstream success. So buckle up, because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you view professional women's basketball politics.
The WNBA. This has to be the most pathetic professional organization I have ever come across. This has to be the most unprofessional organization I have ever come across. This league would definitely not succeed without Adam Silver saying, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money. Without David Stern saying, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money, here's more money. This league would be gone. And that's what happens when you don't need to think logically, when you don't need to think like a business, when you can continue to put activism at the forefront because daddy's gonna continue to pay your bills. You're allowed to get off the rails. You're allowed to say whatever outlandish stuff you want to say because it doesn't matter. You'll never fail.
Can you take us through the flagrant foul from your perspective? Just what you saw in that play, how you interpreted what happened.
Basketball player, refs got it right. Move on.
Let me paint you a picture of today's WNBA. Imagine taking the raw intensity of professional basketball, running it through a corporate HR department, and then wrapping it in bubble wrap with a Be Kind sticker slapped on top. That's exactly what we're dealing with here. And the latest chapter in this ongoing soap opera, a showdown between Caitlin Clark, the cerebral assassin who's been carrying this league on her back, and Angel Reese, who plays every single game like she's auditioning for the WWE. But here's what nobody's talking about. This story isn't really about these two players at all. It's about a league that's terrified of its own success, and I'm gonna prove it to you right now.
Okay, so I didn't hear anything outside of the run-of-the-mill booing. But the WNBA seems content to follow through with this ridiculous investigation. Who is the WNBA going to let control their pocket strings, their pocketbooks? Because it seems to me like the new fans are the ones that's funding this whole league now. I mean, we make up about 70% of the fans overall. Otherwise, yesterday's game would have been watched by about 400,000 people, maybe. It probably got watched by what? Upwards of 2 million? I mean, does the WNBA want to lose Caitlin Clark fans? Because I think as much as people want to support Caitlin Clark.
Picture this scene. Caitlin Clark makes what might be the most textbook, fundamentally sound defensive play you'll see all season. Clean contact, smart positioning, pure basketball IQ on display. In any other professional sport, this gets called great hustle, and everybody moves on. But we're not talking about any other sport. We're talking about the WNBA, where apparently making smart defensive plays is now considered controversial. And here's where it gets interesting, because what happened next exposed everything wrong with how this league handles competition. But first, let me tell you about Angel Reese's reaction that had everybody talking.
Fans yell and fans scream and fans try to do anything they can to diminish their opponent's ability to make a bucket. And I think that it's very hard to really understand or really interpret this sound that way. At least for me it is. And I'm really hoping that the WNBA did not just announce an official investigation based on internet hearsay and outrage.
So Angel Reese sees this perfectly legal defensive play and decides to respond like she just got disrespected at a family barbecue. Full contact, maximum drama, treating the basketball court like her personal action movie set. Now here's what separated the stars from the supporting cast in this moment. Caitlin Clark's reaction, or should I say her complete lack of reaction. While Angel's putting on this whole theatrical performance, Clark just walks away, ice cold, like she's got better things to do than participate in amateur hour dramatics. But plot twist, guess who the WNBA decided was the real problem in this situation? Not the player who escalated a routine basketball play into WWE Monday Night Raw. Nope, they pointed their finger at the Indiana Fever fans. And this is where things get absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know why I'm so angry about this. I'm so angry about this is because how many kids are there in that audience? How many kids are there? And I'm sorry. I'm cool with idiots online branding me as whatever they want to. But when it comes to innocent kids who just want to watch their favorite team, favorite players play basketball, and thankfully they're going to be oblivious to this. But I'm sorry, your branding kids is dangerous. You are branding kids who are just enjoying their game, who are having the time of their lives watching this league is dangerous. This league does not want to grow. This Players Association do not want to grow. Neko Wumake, don't criticize. Watch, don't criticize.
So mad at how AB defended her teammate, how DeWanna Bonner spoke about the fans. They were so mad about a common basketball play in which Angel Reese admitted was a basketball play, that they went out of their way to make things like this. Unless the powers that be make some drastic changes to support our players and their fans, I don't think Indianapolis should be allowed to host the WNBA's All-Star Weekend. These people are writing emails because they're so emotionally unhinged. They're so emotionally unhinged. They've never been checked a day in their life. Their parents allow them to act like fools with no repercussion, with no consequence. Always being acquiesced to every little complaint, to every little need, to every little this, to every little that. They're writing emails to get the Indiana Fever.
According to the WNBA's brilliant logic, the real villains in this story are the fans who had the audacity to wait for it, cheer for their own team, and boo the player who went after their star. I know. Absolutely shocking behavior from sports fans, right? How dare they show passion for their team? How dare they react emotionally to what's happening on the court, who they paid good money to watch? The WNBA has apparently decided that being loud, loyal, and even slightly confrontational now qualifies as unsportsmanlike conduct, because God forbid fans actually act like fans. Instead of golf claps and Instagram-friendly smiles, people showed real emotion, and the league treated it like a national emergency.
4 hours ago, we had a situation that shook the earth. That is Caitlin Clark putting a flagrant foul on Angel Reese, and that foul arguably was probably one of the most transcendent moments in Caitlin Clark's career. To me, that moment there showed the world that Caitlin Clark wasn't backing down for nothing, and she wasn't scared to get in the mix when it comes to protecting her teammates and stopping somebody from making a basket. Well, many other Angel Reese fans have rage war against Caitlin Clark fan base by saying racial slurs online, and me personally, I'm staying out of the racial stuff as of right now. But for them to sit up there and lie and say that Angel Reese again called racist names during the game, I had somebody from my team sitting right behind Chicago Sky Bench. Wasn't nobody saying nothing about Angel, man.
NBA has developed a full-blown allergic reaction to authentic competition. They're addicted to this sanitized, overproduced version of basketball where every player smiles like they're running for student council president. Think about this. They finally have what every sports league dreams of, a legitimate rivalry that gets people talking, generates buzz, and actually moves the needle on viewership. The Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese storyline is the most attention the WNBA has gotten since someone accidentally discovered a game while channel surfing. So what do they do with this golden opportunity? They smother it with corporate messaging and fake outrage. It's like they're actively trying to make their own product boring. And here's the part that'll blow your mind. Caitlin Clark has become this league's walking psychology test. Whatever you want to see in her, you'll find a way to justify it. Some people see a generational talent elevating women's basketball. Others somehow see a villain disrupting team chemistry with bounce passes. Make it make sense.
6 or 7 of their players have been called racial slurs for an entire day, but they're on the Indiana Fever. They don't care about those players. It's only certain players. The WNBA players, they don't want Caitlin Clark, and it's very clear. The WNBPA releasing a statement is the most embarrassing thing I've seen, because you know what? When it comes to the Fever players, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. The WNBPA said something. And you know what? Their stance is clear. There's no place for hate unless it's towards Caitlin Clark or her teammates. Then it's fair game. They have made that point abundantly clear, and it's embarrassing.
Let's break down what actually happened on the court, because the facts matter more than the headlines. Caitlin Clark makes a smart, calculated basketball play. Angel Reese responds like she just got personally attacked. Clark shows more composure than the entire WNBA front office combined. But instead of celebrating that kind of poise under pressure, what does the league do? They release a statement blaming the Indiana fans. Think about that for a second. In a situation where one player escalates and another player de-escalates, the WNBA decides the real crisis is fans showing too much emotion at a live sporting event. It's like they're terrified that actual competition might interfere with their carefully curated brand image. They want group hugs after hard fouls, selfie sessions after steals, and maybe a tea party at center court instead of jump balls.
They lost sight of reality. They lost sight of what real sports is about. The fans at the Indiana Fever game yesterday, they were being fans. They booed, they cheered, they screamed, they yelled. That's it. The Angel Reese fans, the old guard, the lowest common denominator that resides in the WNBA, the nose picker, the people that scratch their butt and don't wash their hands, those people saw that Caitlin Clark hard foul on Angel Reese, and they saw it as an opportunity. They saw it as an opportunity to do what they always do. Make it about race.
And don't even get me started on their punishment for this whole situation. With all the drama and controversy, you'd think somebody might face actual consequences, right? Maybe a fine for escalating the situation, a warning about maintaining professionalism? Nope. Instead, the WNBA decided to crack down on the fans who booed, the people who reacted to what they saw like normal human beings at a sporting event they paid to attend. What's next? A ban on clapping too loudly, mandatory silence policies. Maybe they'll start handing out pamphlets about respectful spectating before tip-off. At this rate, WNBA arenas are gonna feel more like libraries than basketball venues. Welcome to Professional Sports 2024, where passion gets you penalized and the people who care most get punished for caring.
So as soon as I landed from Indianapolis to LaGuardia, New York, I got an email in my inbox relating to a WNBA statement, and to be quite frank, I was surprised to see it. I didn't think these things would be a topic this year. It's certainly not at this point, but here we go again.
Here's what nobody wants to admit. This situation stopped being about basketball the moment the WNBA decided to micromanage every headline, every highlight, every human emotion until all the authenticity gets scrubbed away. They're chasing this impossibly polished image that's so clean it doesn't reflect anything real, just corporate approved talking points and generic responses to everything. But here's a crazy thought. What if fans actually want to see some fire? What if they're tuning in specifically for the intensity, the rivalries, the unscripted moments that make sports worth watching? Because let's be honest, without that edge, the only thing keeping people awake during another low-scoring fourth quarter is hoping for a little chaos. Fans don't want sanitized entertainment. They want reasons to care, reasons to get invested, reasons to choose sides.
Number one, let me put it out there. I don't believe for a second that Indiana Fever fans were yelling racial slurs where there were television mics down by the court. I don't believe it. They would have gotten thrown out of the arena. So don't let that narrative, it would be everywhere. Somebody would have it on camera. It would get leaked. It would be online right now. It's not. Everybody's got camera phones. We would already know if that was true. So don't let them slide you into some kind of false bullshit like they did at Duke and that player over that BYU
The irony here is thicker than Angel Reese's pre-game routine. Without Caitlin Clark, half these games wouldn't even trend on social media. She's the reason tickets are selling, the reason people are paying attention, the reason the WNBA is getting more mainstream coverage than ever before. But instead of protecting their biggest star, instead of promoting the player who's carrying their entire league, they're busy making sure nobody's feelings get hurt by a few boos from the crowd. This is supposed to be a league about empowerment, about women breaking barriers, about fierce competition, yet every time something genuinely powerful happens on the court, they strip away the very intensity that makes sports compelling. Caitlin Clark handles pressure like a champion, steps away from drama like the professional she is, and somehow she gets labeled as the problem, while fans who support her get scolded for showing passion.
A lot of tension going on online between Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark fan base. The reality of the situation is, man, this is the reality for the Angel Reese fan. Angel Reese is not relevant at all as of right now for basketball. Angel Reese is a social media influencer. Her basketball career is diminishing right before our eyes. She needs this rivalry to keep going to make herself relevant in the basketball world. Because in the basketball world, her attributes and stuff really is starting to diminish. This year, we're going to see a decline in Angel Reese. Now, granted, she got a double-double yesterday, but she had to work her butt off to get it, man. And I'm here to tell you, we're going to see a diminishing Angel Reese this basketball season. Now, something else.
This whole mess has become a masterclass in how to completely waste your own momentum. The WNBA finally has mainstream attention, a legitimate superstar, and a rivalry that could actually drive consistent viewership. So what's their strategy? Smother everything with virtue signaling and corporate overreaction. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in therapy dogs and emotional support animals for halftime shows. They had a golden opportunity to embrace the drama, let the storylines develop naturally, and capitalize on the buzz. Instead, they chose sanitization and safety, terrified of offending anyone, even when controversy means people are finally paying attention. Indiana Fever fans did exactly what passionate sports fans do everywhere. They supported their team and voiced their displeasure with the opposition. That's not toxic behavior. That's the heartbeat of competitive sports.
If I were the WNBA, I would look into these allegations before posting a public notice that there are allegations, because there's two things that you can be accused of. In my opinion, no matter what the outcome, just the accusation tarnishes.
What's the WNBA going to do next? Hand out technical fouls for intense eye contact, issue warnings for sarcastic comments, maybe replace referees with guidance counselors equipped with stress balls and conflict resolution worksheets. This is professional basketball, not a corporate team building retreat. When players show fire on the court, that should be celebrated, not treated like an HR violation. The league's growing obsession with avoiding any kind of conflict is destroying exactly what they need most: raw emotion, authentic rivalries, and those unforgettable moments that make fans jump off their couches and blow up social media. Instead of policing every glare and monitoring every competitive exchange, here's a revolutionary idea. Let the personalities clash. Let the drama unfold naturally. Let the rivalries breathe. That's how you create stories people actually want to follow.
In itself, and I feel like the battles that, folks go through are not to be weaponized for basketball. It feels like such an empty platitude designed to vilify people more than really stop anything legitimate. So
to Caitlin Clark, keep doing exactly what you're doing. Keep draining those impossible threes. Keep dropping those no-look assists that break the internet. And yes, keep walking away from drama like the absolute queen you are while chaos erupts behind you. That composure, that confidence, that laser focus on basketball, that's what makes you a legitimate superstar. The WNBA needs more players with your mentality, not fewer. And to the Indiana Fever fans, thank you for reminding everyone that sports are supposed to be passionate, loud, and emotional invested. While other arenas feel like polite dinner parties, you brought the energy that makes live sports worth experiencing. Don't let anyone tell you that caring too much is a problem. Passion is what separates sports from everything else on TV.
Advice to Caitlin Clark is never interact with that girl on the basketball court or off the basketball court, because any basketball play will turn into a non-basketball discussion. If you ever have to guard her, just call for a switch. Like, if she's going for a layup, just let her get the 2 points, man. Don't even foul. Don't even attempt to steal it. Because these nerds on social media are not gonna let the two of you ever interact without having a non-basketball discussion. So don't even interact with her no more, man.
So here we are. The WNBA has finally shown us their true priorities. And it's not the fierce, groundbreaking image they promote in every commercial and social media post. What we're seeing instead is a league obsessed with performative harmony, where authentic competition gets treated like a public relations disaster. Cheer too loud, you're too aggressive. Show real emotion, you're disrupting the carefully crafted atmosphere. This is a league that constantly demands to be taken as seriously as the NBA, but the moment genuine heat develops, out comes the corporate fire extinguisher to cool everything down to room temperature. The players are passionate, skilled, and hungry for real competition, but the league itself seems terrified of its own potential. They want attention but fear controversy, crave engagement but only in controlled doses, demand energy but refuse to let it build naturally, and then they act surprised when casual fans label it boring and move on to something with actual stakes and authentic emotion. The question isn't whether the WNBA will learn from this mistake, it's whether they'll make an even bigger one next time. Drop a comment below with your prediction, and if you want to see more unfiltered sports analysis that actually tells you what's really happening, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because trust me, this story is far from over.